Chronological. Yeah.
Like, just I'm above absolutely everyone else. I kept getting that kind of that vibe off him and that comment saying, I'm sorry, but if you're not going to put me in 3 minutes of a game, I'm not just playing whatsoever. Like, even with a man of his status, can he deserve to have an attitude like that?
Um, he's obviously he's a massive star. We all know this. He is the GOAT for a reason. He's one of the best players on the planet. So I can understand why he may feel that way and why he may feel like, oh, I deserve this, I deserve that, blah blah blah. But the whole interview came across as a guy who fails to see himself as a 38-year-old man, and he's declining, and he just doesn't see it. Like he isn't aware of what it is. He still sees himself as this 28-year-old phenom who's still at Real Madrid and smashing records. And he played well for us last season, but you could tell there was like something slightly. He wasn't the Ronaldo we remember, or the Ronaldo that has played for the last 20 odd years. And he just seemed to come across like he seemed to like act it that. Imagine if we bought Erling Haaland in the summer instead of City, and he was sat on the bench at Tottenham, and we decided to bring him on 3 minutes to the end. Then I'd see he might have a point with it, because he's like, all right, he's the best player on the planet right now. He's scoring goals, he's current and stuff like that. Then he might have a point, but he doesn't, because he's not played well and he's not at that level anymore. So you either accept that, or what Ronaldo's doing, he's still living in that almost a delusion, isn't it? Really, like that's.
Well, everyone goes on about the timing of the interview. They're saying, oh, it's like a lot of them have said it's perfect and whatever, because obviously he's gone off to the World Cup and stuff. I actually think the timing of the interview would have been better if he dropped it. Well, I wouldn't want the interview to drop regardless, but if he was going to drop it, I think the timing would be better after last season when he's on a high. He scored 20 plus goals. He'd have a bit more credit in the bank to be like this, but he's scored 1 goal in 10 games, and Piers Morgan kept throwing out there like, oh, you've not started a lot, and you're not. He's been given plenty of opportunities.
He's played 10 games. We have 14 games in the season, and he's played 10 games.
Yeah, it's not even just a statistical thing. It's how he looks on the pitch when he's playing. He just doesn't look quick enough, mobile enough to play the way Ten Hag, or press enough to play the way Ten Hag wants to.
Finishing's not there.
Yeah, like it's just all aspects of his game. It's not just goal scoring. And Piers Morgan obviously only pokes the things that make Ronaldo feel better. I wanted to touch on the quotes on Eric Ten Hag, because I thought these were the ones that were super interesting. These were the bits where you're like, yeah, there's definitely some animosity between these two and friction. He said Ten Hag says things for the press. Well, he says things for the press, but the press say what they think is good to protect him. He signed a 3-year contract with United. I will probably not be at United much longer, apart from when I finish my contract. And on the City game, he said, not bringing him on out of respect. Ronaldo says, excuses. I don't want to criticise him. He can have different opinions from me. I respect that, but excuses all the time. He keeps saying in the press that he counts on me and likes me, blah, 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 but it's only for the press, 100%. He doesn't respect the way I should deserve, but it is what it is. This is why probably the game against Tottenham I left. So a bit more insight into the friction between these two here. It's hard to side with him when he hasn't given an example. Like, he mentions the sticky point on it was the City game, and then Piers Morgan says, well, he said he wouldn't bring you on against City out of respect, but then wanted to bring you on for the last couple of minutes against Tottenham. It's 2 different scenarios, isn't it, Sam?
Yeah, we're down 6. Is it 6-2 at the time? we were down.
Yeah, 6. Yeah, I think so.
6-2 at the time against City. Like, I don't care who you are. Like, when you're 6-2 down against the best team in Europe, arguably, like, unless City decide to just stop playing completely, there's nothing you can do at that situation. Like, you ain't gonna overhaul that at some point. Even Manchester United, like, especially the way we've played the last couple of years, that's beyond our capabilities. And Ronaldo, in the form he's in, he wasn't changing that. He wasn't going to score 4 goals. Like, it wasn't going to happen.
And one's a Manchester derby, one's where you're losing, and one's against Tottenham where you're already winning.
And on Tottenham, so, it's like we absolutely dominated the game. We were on top throughout. We were winning. And, yeah, like, it comes down to the really simple fact. Like, I understand Ronaldo thinks he's the level above most players, and for a while he was in terms of his performance on the pitch. But when it comes to a manager like Ten Hag, or a manager like, for example, I'd imagine Conte would probably treat him the same way. You have to listen to the manager. The manager is the boss and in charge, like, and that's just the way it is. If he wants to bring you on at this time, and I don't think it's vindictive, I don't think he's bringing him on to embarrass him. Like, it's not a, oh yeah, you go on that, like, stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? It's not an embarrassment thing. But you have to listen to the manager. And Ronaldo, I think, he's living in this world and this sort of environment in his head where he's still the best player in the world. And time's passed him by, and he just doesn't seem to, he doesn't seem to see himself. And it's weird that he thinks Ten Hag's protected by the press. Like, every time we read the press, they're on his back, Ten Hag, aren't they?
Yeah.
They criticise his tactics, they criticise his transfers, Lissandro, Casemiro, blah, blah, blah. They criticise his style of play. Oh, they're trying to play out from the back. But, like, they criticise everything about him. Like, it's like, I don't see any protection from the press. Like, I think Steven Gerrard and fucking, what's the new Chelsea guy, Graham Potter, have had a sort of way more sort of berth given by the press. And Jurgen Klopp has had a terrible season at Liverpool. You've seen any press people going at him and having a go at him? No. Ten Hag lost the first 2 games and they were like, oh, he's already, like, do you know what I mean? It's just, it's a weird world he's living in, and I don't see where he's coming from on any of these parts of it. I don't get it.
One of the reasons he was given for this, he said he didn't have a proper pre-season. He felt disrespected, so that's why he wasn't playing to the level that he's capable of. And he says, I'm still playing the high level. I score goals and will continue to score goals if my mind is clear and happy, and if the people surrounding me help me to successful, especially the coach, president, and the directors. But again, it goes back to what Severe was saying. There's no accountability at all. Even when he was kind of half admitting that he was wrong for walking out of Tottenham, even at the same time, he was still like, maybe I was wrong, but maybe I wasn't, because the coach disrespected me. So there's no accountability. It's just full flow. I'm right. I'm the top dog. That's it. There was nothing at all. And it's really disappointing me with Cristiano. I feel like the one main thing I've taken away from this interview is it's made me like him a lot less. Yeah. Like, I really, like, you know me, I love Ronaldo when he came in from Sporting Lisbon, but watching that interview now, it's like, you need to realise where you're at, mate. You're not that guy anymore. And he even said it himself, like, I'm not, but I've adapted my game. I'm still a top goal scorer. Is that right? Is that why you've scored 1 goal from open play since fucking June the 5th, which was with Portugal, which wasn't even with United? So, yeah, another bit he had is, he said it's different on United. If he'll, go back to United in January, he said it's difficult for me to tell right now. It's because my mood right now is the World Cup. It's probably my last World Cup. I don't know what's going to happen after that. Where's the other press that I had? The quote. I don't know where it's gone now. But yeah, on the World Cup, he thinks he's going to have we were discussing it on the World Cup countdown, weren't we, Sam? Mm-hmm. He thinks he's going to have a phenomenal World Cup.
Go check that out after this. You've finished watching this video. Like, go check it out. It's well worth watching.
Absolutely. Loads of us on discussing group stages, the things going on with it and stuff. So, yeah, definitely check that out. But yeah, in regards to the World Cup, he was saying he's mentally prepared. He feels like he's going to have a great one. I think I already know your stance on this, but where do you go with that, Cristiano, going into this? Could he shock the world? I feel like I've asked you this many times.
Could he? Sure. Like, anything's possible in football, isn't it? Like, we all know this. Like, when we, for example, the PSG game under Ole, we all were like, well, this is fucking done, innit? It's over.
Yeah.
It's finished. And especially when they scored first, we were like, yeah, this is over. And we saw a remarkable comeback with Marcus Rashford, but balls are stealing the penalty. So anything's possible in football. You never know. On the current evidence, I'd say no. He's not playing well for United. I've not watched many of Portugal's games in the lead up to the World Cup, so I don't know how good he's been for Portugal. I know they played. Was it tonight they played, or was it last night? It's Nigeria.
Played tonight. Yeah.
And without him, and Bruno got 2, and Dallo got 1. So they played really well without him. So that might be the option there. Like I said, if it goes if he does not play well in the first sort of couple of group games, Portugal have got a decision to make. Because do you carry on with him and then risk not competing for this World Cup just to appease him, or do you make the manager make a decision and decide my team's better without him, and I've got a better chance of winning this tournament or going far in this tournament without him, and then you have obviously the Ronaldo wrath that will inevitably surface after that. So it's possible. Do I think it'll happen? Probably not. For my personal opinion, I don't know what my opinion's worth, but that's my opinion.
It feels like the Michael Jordan documentary, The Last Dance, like this now, the tournament is really setting up the stage for him to perform. If he doesn't perform, God knows what's going to happen in January. It could be even more of a meltdown, even more of a crash. Like, it's so hard to predict right now. Yeah. If Portugal out of the tournament early, I don't know. Like, I don't feel like it's going to be beneficial either way to United if he does have a good tournament or he doesn't. Because if he doesn't, he comes back, means not a lot of clubs will go in for him. Maybe he has to stay. Then what do you do with an unhappy Cristiano Ronaldo? See what he's just done now, causing an absolute uproar. His social media power and energy is much bigger than most clubs on the planet.
The two options are, like, if he doesn't have a good tournament, United have to seriously think about mutual termination with his contract and just be like, look, we can't pay out your entire contract, but we'll pay you this amount, and then you can go and sign for whoever. If he does have a good tournament, that might do well for United, where somebody goes, all right, he's still got something, and they come in and bid and purchase him. So I think that'd be the two options for United at this point. I'm hoping, for Ronaldo's sake and for United's sake, that he does have a good tournament so we can sell him, get some money for him, he gets to leave, we get a fee for him and his wages off the books, and we can sign a striker and move on, and he can move on, and then the whole circus, we can just sort of move on from it. But who knows what's going to happen.
Well, he provided a little bit of clarity on the situation during the summer, because there's been back and forth. Journalists like Andy Mitten, Laurie Whitwell, these guys from The Athletic who have good ties in the club, have all stated that no clubs came in for Cristiano. That's why he didn't go. And Piers Morgan asked him about this, and he said that's not true. There was clubs that was in for me. One of the Saudi clubs was mentioned that he got offered £350 million, and Piers Morgan must have said it about 5 times. It's like, well, you turned that down, didn't you? You're not there for the money. You're there because you want to be at the top. And he kept pushing that, and I was just like, right, I think he's heard you, mate. And then he said, like, Mendes has a lot of players. He has 100 and odd players. Some at Chelsea and Arsenal. These were potential ones. But does that sound like to you that there was 10 clubs knocking at his door? Like, are you with United on that side, do you think?
He said, I think I was listening to the interview, and he did say not many, but a few came in. I think he said that's the words that Ronaldo said. I think he mentioned Sporting by name. I don't know if he mentioned anybody else.
Napoli was another
team.
He
mentioned Napoli. Yeah, he mentioned Napoli. So I think clubs may have I think Jorge Mendes probably went to these clubs and offered Ronaldo to them, and they probably had the conversation and were like, yeah, we'll take the conversation. And then when they realised his wage demands and possible fees and all that sort of stuff, and the way it might interrupt the way they play, because obviously Napoli are playing really well with Osimhen up front right now, maybe they didn't want to upset that. Sporting Lisbon are doing a really different system and playing well. I don't think they wanted to upset that and upset their balance and stuff. So it probably came down to the fact that his wages, financial is the big one, and then the other wing is upsetting the system, because you saw what happened to Ollie. Ollie clearly had like a way he was going to play with the players, and Ronaldo was hoisted upon him, and he kind of had to change the way he played, basically. So
Yeah.
I think it's a couple of factors. I think clubs had the conversation with Jorge Mendes. Did any clubs make a bid or make a serious offer? I don't think so. I don't think that happened.
Yeah, I agree. So what are you supposed to do with that? Because we know it's an ongoing thing now. When we start to get into January, and if we have the same thing again, I know you said terminate with a contract, but it's not always as simple as that. I don't think.
No.
And maybe Ronaldo was like, "Well, no, I'm not just terminating it."
I'm simplifying it just for
Yeah, of
argument's
course.
sake. And yeah, he's got legally he doesn't have to terminate anything because he signed the contract for another year. Legally, he's entitled to that. But as he said in that interview, he wants to play and he wants to score goals, and that's what he wants to do. So if he wants to
want it that much,
that's your option. That's your out.
Just
because after what you've said, you're not going to play for United again. Like you just aren't. So these are your options. That's your options.
The last thing I want though is just a January transfer window, just about him. And then the amount of games we've got to play in January, Sam, we've got so many fixtures. It's just another distraction that we don't need. Just as a side note, I believe you posted something in the WhatsApp chat, didn't you?
Yeah, Garnacho is being considered. I believe
Correa
is injured for Argentina. So Garnacho and I can't remember the other guy's name who's being considered for as a replacement. There's another Argentinian is considered for Argentina.
Happy with that?
I am and I'm not. From United's perspective, I'm not happy because if he gets injured, that's another attacking player down for United. Like, we're already short. Like, obviously, Anthony Martial was injured for the majority of the season. He's not going to the World Cup, luckily. So hopefully he's fit. Rashford's going. He's got a history of injuries. There's a risk there. Anthony's gone to the World Cup. He was injured previously, but whether that was he just didn't want to get injured for the World Cup or not, who knows? So we've got some attackers out at the World Cup, and a couple of them are injury prone, and it's a huge risk. But for him personally, I think it could be an amazing experience. Learning from the likes of Lionel Messi, Dybala, people like that, being in a World Cup tournament, the experience and stuff like that, it could do him the world of good and could sort of improve him, but like more than say staying at Carrington with Ten Hag could. So it's a double-edged sword, really. If he goes, I'll be excited for the guy. If he doesn't go, then I'll be happy that he's not going to get injured playing international football for United. So.
Just gutted Ivory Coast, aren't there? Because you could have Ahmad there, Garnacho, and Balestri there, and then we'd have all three of them that we could keep a close eye on. Could have been some fun content, just keeping an eye on them. But let's bring it back to the Cristiano. There's a few more things I want to touch on about the Glazers and about Lionel Messi as well. I spoke about him. On speaking out against the Glazers, the fans, he said the fans were always right. The fans, they are always the answer and the passion for the game. Manchester belongs to the fans, but they should know the truth. The infrastructure, they are not good. They should change. Where was he? I've lost a few quotes here, I think. But yeah, basically on the Glazers, I think we've already seen a couple of the quotes because they got released as like little mini snippets. But again, it's just kind of reposting the message. Like, obviously, a global star like Cristiano Ronaldo, in different circumstances, this would have massive weight. If he would have said this during the Super League, or if he would have said this, when the protests were last season, then again, this is all about timing again. If he said this then, I think it would have been very, very valid, and it would have held a lot of weight, and I think it potentially could have pushed that extra mile for the Glazers to be pushed out when all that stuff was coming out about Jim Ratcliffe and stuff. But I have to be brutally honest when I hear quotes like this. The way he talks about the fans, I get he loves them and I get he loves United, but I feel like he's overstating it to balance out his argument and what he's trying to put out there to save himself. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Trojan horse argument, isn't it? He's putting all this stuff so he can sneak past all the sort of stuff about Ten Hag and his excuses for why he walked out at Tottenham and etc. Yeah. That's the way I think he's sort of measuring. And he's probably had a conversation with Piers Morgan about how to structure this interview, how to answer these questions.
Yeah.
there's probably all sorts of trickery behind the scenes that we don't know about. Um, as far as the Glazers point, we all knew this. We've been saying this for years. We've been saying this on this channel since it started. It's the reason why we're green and gold, because we're anti-Glazer and we want the Glazers out. We've spoke about it so many times. And as have multiple channels and most United fans, we're all very much aware of how we feel about the Glazers. And he's not saying anything new. And like you said, if he would have said this last season when he was our top goal scorer, or if he would have said it during the Super League, etc., or even if he said it just in the summertime, remember when United fans were kicking off because we were fucking about with Frankie de Jong and what have you, and we had that protest planned and stuff. So like, if he would have said it then, the impact would have been massive, like you said. And like, I agree with it. I think it's just a tactic and a deploy to sneak in the other stuff so fans don't absolutely tear him to pieces. And obviously, there's going to be fans who, no matter what Ronaldo says, he's going to be right, and they're just going to agree with him because it's Ronaldo FC. But I think most of us, like when he said, "Oh, the fans, they always back me and they always this," it's just like,
that bit didn't hit me.
I don't think most fans. I don't think most fans agree with you, mate. I don't think most fans are in agreement with you.
Like, you know when you just know something's sincere and it's coming from the heart. I didn't believe him when he said it. It kind of seemed like a cold statement. Like, it's just like, the fans are this, the fans are that, the fans are this. I'm like, yeah, I wasn't buying it at all, to be honest. I'm not sure if you saw the...
It's like when a band plays a show and it's, this is the best night on the tour that we've done so far.
Yeah, and they say it in every
single show. He's like,
yeah. I'm not sure if you saw the bit. He got poked a little bit more on the Neville and Rooney situation, and he actually referred to them as rats.
Yeah, that was weird. That was very weird.
Like, that's quite a... This is what I mean by the higher up, like, I'm better than absolutely everyone. Referring to people as rats, it's like... I haven't seen things from Neville, and Neville spoke to Sky Sports today. I watched the interview with Gary Neville. He was very balanced. He was, he was saying, I understand why he did it. I think some of the things he said maybe aren't correct, but look, it's part and parcel of my job as a pundit to criticise certain things how I see it, and praise certain things how I see it, because he praised Cristiano as well, like many times. He's always stood by the fact he's the best player he's ever witnessed. When he watched him in training, he's absolute star and stuff like that. So I don't. It seems very personal for me. You start calling people rats and things like, even like Wayne Rooney's critique of him. If you look at the quotes, it's nothing overly harsh.
No.
I think it's just a case of, again, like we said, it is a guy who's in his late 30s who has been at the top of the game for so fucking long, talking like 20 years. He's achieved almost everything in the game. And it comes to a point now, like you said, Sam, Father Time catches up with you. You're not the guy you was anymore. Yes, you've adapted. Every kind of hurdle you've adapted. And you've still been great in that position when you was a winger, when you was a striker, and then even when you was fading a little bit at Juventus, you still scored 100+ goals. But you're not that guy anymore. I hope he proves me wrong and he fucking smashes the World Cup and sits everyone down, because he is the goal of the game at the end of the day. But he needs to accept that he's not that guy anymore, because I think it'll just get uglier. I think this is going to get to a point where, if he keeps on the decline, if he has a really bad World Cup and then he leaves United as free agent, like, it could go really downhill really quick for him.
I've used the adage before on this channel. It's like MMA fighters. There's so many MMA fighters and they have this glittering career and they're champion, amazing knockouts, and then they just stay on a couple of fights too long. The chin starts going, they just getting knocked out super easily, they're getting tapped out and stuff, and it's just like, it's sad to watch. And you just retire, man. Like, just be done. Like, you don't need to fight anymore. Like, you don't. But they just that's all they have in their head. They just do. You just have to keep going, and eventually either medical has to stop him or somebody has to step in, like their trainer, and just go, look, you need to stop. But Ronaldo doesn't have anybody around him like that, because he only listens to himself.
He'll blow smoke up his ass.
Yeah, basically. Like nobody's going to tell him no. So nobody's ever told him no, I assume. Like, I don't think anybody's ever told him no in his life. There's a guy from Football Daily, Joe Tomlinson. He put it better on a tweet than I can. He said, Ronaldo, it's really sad to watch. Can't seem to accept that he's in decline and he's 38 and at some stage, every player has to accept they aren't the main man anymore.
Yeah.
And it happens to every single player. Every single player. No player has stayed at the top for an entire career and then retired. Never happens. Like, this never happens. Every player will go through a decline at some point, and they'll stop being as good as they once were. The brightest stars shine for brighter than everything else, but half as long. I think I butchered the phrase and ruined it, but
but I know what you're on about. I know.
Do you know what I mean? So he doesn't seem to be able to wrap his head around that, and he doesn't seem to be able to accept the reality of the situation currently. And that attitude is what got him to the top. So I understand why he's not willing to abandon it now, because that's what got him to the greatest player of all time. He didn't accept this level. He kept pushing for the next level, next level, next level. But your body sometimes just gives in, and that's where he's at.
Well, quite a few players said they think he will watch this back in a few years' time, this interview, and they think he'll realise what he's done and realise that he wasn't at the peak of his powers anymore. He was on the decline, and this was just kind of like a mental reaction to it.
Like lashing, he's like lashing out, isn't he? He's lashing out.
Yeah, it's just I think a lot of pressure. Being Cristiano Ronaldo every day, man, like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I know he's on 500,000 every week, and I know he's got this massive social power. He's one of the greatest in the world, but it's got to be fucking tiring, man,
but
for that long.
He mentions, like he said rats and Gary Neville and stuff. He seems to be taking criticism as a personal attack.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Rather than just what it is, like he's criticising your performances. And I think because he's probably never had much criticism as a player, because obviously he's been so good for 99% of his career. He's been absolutely phenomenal. So he's probably never had much criticism because, to be honest with you, he's never actually deserved any, because he's been amazing, like Lionel Messi. Like, he's not had many bad games throughout his career, and if he has, they've been few and far between. So it probably feels really new to him to be criticised for his performances. So he probably is taking it really personal, and I sort of slightly understand that. But if you just looked at the words in context that were getting said about him, you might realise it's not a personal attack. It's literally just a critique of your performances, nothing more.
And he speaks about how longer he's going to play in the game for and how long he thinks he's got left. He says, I want to play 2 years more, 3 years more. So 2 to 3 years maximum. I want to finish with 40. I think 40 would be a good age, but I don't know. I don't know the future. This is at the top level as well, but I don't know, man. I don't think at the top level, you talk about these teams that are in the Premier League now, I can't see him. Maybe a Chelsea, but Chelsea aren't in the best of positions at the minute. They're struggling. I don't think throwing a Ronaldo into the mix of that would help him very much. Yeah. Liverpool doesn't suit that system whatsoever. I think he was struggling in the Ten Hag system. Not a chance would you see Liverpool's. Pep's got Haaland. Tottenham have got Kane. Like, he won't be the Premier League.
He won't work under Conte as well, because Conte will make him run. Like, he'll make him run into the ground. You saw what he did to Spurs players. Like, Ronaldo's not if he wants to play to 40, he has to go to the MLS. That's where he has to go. That's the only way he's playing to 40.
Well, he won't go there, would he?
No,
he won't go there.
You can't
you
can't play to 40 in a Premier League team. I don't think.
On to the kind of last segment with Lionel Messi and a little bit more on the World Cup. He got asked about PSG potentially if he could go there. Imagine how many shirts you sell, Piers, sucking him off again. But we're saying, like, you could go. He said, yeah, potentially. Why not? Me and Messi on the same team, blah, blah, blah. I asked him if they'd have dinner together. He was saying, yeah, why not? I really respect him. He says, amazing player, magic, top as a person. We share the stage for 16 years. Imagine 16 years. So I have a great relationship with him. I'm not like a friend, but it's like a teammate. Messi is a guy that I really respect, the way he's always spoke about me. Even his wife, or my wife, my girlfriend, they always respect because his wife's from Argentina, and obviously Messi and his missus are from Argentina. So he had good words to say about Messi, no bad words at all. Again, Pace was like, you're number one though, aren't you? One, he's number two. Again, licking his ass. But on the Ronaldo Messi situation, where have you always stood on that, Sam? Because I don't think I really asked you about this.
For me personally, Ronaldo is the number one. The GOAT. Messi's always been number two. Like, it's close. It is razor thin. I think because I obviously personal bias obviously comes into it because he played for United, Ronaldo, and that's where I saw him. So obviously there's personal bias there. So I'm not gonna lie and pretend there isn't. I think Messi is a phenomenal player. I think he's done so much in the game. He almost did it all with one club as well. He almost like just absolutely smashed it with one club. Which
if it were for Barca and the stupid finances,
but this is the whole other show. That yeah, I think he's a fantastic player, and it could be his year, the World Cup this year. Messi, like this could be it. Like he could.
Do you think something like that? Sorry to cut you in, Sam. Do you think something like that could really define the greatest of all time?
Yeah, I mean, people might use it as an argument, like because obviously Ronaldo's not yet won a World Cup. Obviously he's won a Euros, and then Messi has won their equivalent. Was it Copa de America?
Copa America. Yeah.
So he's won their equivalent. So they're equal there. They've both won La Ligas, both won Champions Leagues, both won Ballon d'Ors. Messi's won a league. Oh, I don't know whether that holds any weight, but there you go. But Ronaldo's played in the Premier League, and he's competed in the Premier League and won Premier Leagues twice. So I think,
well, not the Premier League, but he's played in it, but he's gone back and in return as a 37-year-old. It's like,
so I think that edges it for me. But if Messi fans and Messi people, like, I wouldn't begrudge them the argument. Honestly, like it's that close. Just for me personally, because Ronaldo played for United, that's who my vote goes to. But they're both on the decline. Obviously, we've got new stars coming through, Haaland, Mbappe. Like, they're going to be probably.
Does it feel weird for you, that, Sam? Because obviously, I know I was, how old would it have been? 10 when Ronaldo first came in, 9, 10, somewhere around that area, which would have made you 16, 17 I think. So watching these guys come to the tail end of the career now, especially how it's kind of going out with Cristiano, does it feel weird watching these two absolute mega stars, like, not collapse, but you know what I mean, don't you?
It happens to everybody though, doesn't it? Like, it's like the United legends over the years, Paul Scholes, like seeing him leave, that was weird. Ryan Giggs, who was one of my favourite players at the time, I thought he was going to play forever. Like, he played till nearly 40, didn't he?
40,
So, like, he thought he was never going to end, but it does. Rio and Vidic, you thought that's the partnership's going to last forever. And so all these players, this is why I say the club's bigger than anybody, because players will come and go and they'll win everything. They'll be the top of the game and they'll win Ballon d'Ors and they'll be the top and they'll titles and all this sort of stuff, but it all comes to an end. Nothing lasts forever, like nothing.
Yeah.
And there always has to be a next generation and a next crop of talent that's coming through. And it happens in every sport. You're seeing it in MMA right now, like a bunch of the top guys have been dethroned in Usman and Adesanya last night and stuff like that. Like GSP back in the day was dominant. He got dethroned.
I think Khabib's the only one in it where it's like where he's gone out on top.
Anderson Silva, like the list goes on and on and on. It's very rare for somebody to go out on top in any sport, really. Yeah. It's very extremely rare. That's why you could probably name Khabib, because honestly, I'm struggling to think of anybody in football that went out on top. I can't think of anybody.
Yeah, it's one of them sports you just want to cling on to everything. You've got Piers Morgan described the hypothetical situation to Ronaldo. He said, imagine the World Cup final, Argentina versus Portugal. Messi scored 2, Ronaldo, you scored 2, and then you get the winner in the 92nd minute. Would that be the most perfect situation ever? He said it's too perfect. It's literally too perfect. I'd retire if that happened. My God, I know I keep saying it, but if we got a Portugal and Argentina final, that would be the most viewed thing, everything in history. If Messi and Ronaldo was in there, I am fucking praying for it. Honestly, I am praying for it because I would love that game. Judging how tournaments work, they'll probably end up meeting each other in the fucking quarterfinals or something, or semi-finals.
I think the way it works, that it can happen. Like if they both win, they can. Like somebody worked out, they both can meet in the final if they win all their games, obviously.
So you're saying it's possible?
I'm saying there's a chance.
There's a chance.
as long as I get Brazil Argentina semi-final, I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
I'll take
Yeah,
Argentina.
yeah.
I'll take Argentina Portugal final, Messi versus Ronaldo. If I can get Argentina Brazil semi, that'll.
Hey, maybe your boy Garnacho's in there as well. Might have a little stint.
Lissandro.
You never know. Lissandro, yeah.
Let's see Lissandro absolutely brick Ronaldo in the final. That'll be a sight.
I mean, yeah, exactly. We discussed. I have a feeling after the praise that he gave him, he might not be as harsh in the tackle because he was one of the players you mentioned, wasn't he? Ronaldo,
maybe.
Gallo, and Lissandro. But I can't remember what I was going to say then. What was I going to say? The World Cup countdown that we did before, we didn't have many kind of, with everything that's around it, it's kind of hard to feel really up to go and watch the World Cup. But if a situation like that happens towards the end and Argentina go far, Portugal far, I'm not even that. Honestly, I'd rather watch a Portugal-Argentina final with Messi and Ronaldo than England World Cup. And I know that sounds crazy to some people, but legit.
I'd rather England not win this World Cup because of everything that's surrounding it.
It's tainted.
It will be. It'll be tainted forever. Like, England have won World Cup, but what was the World Cup? It was in fucking winter in a country that's corrupt and treats human beings like trash. Like, it's fucking tainted, man. It is.
So let's just get to the final. You know, even if you got to bribe it, pay Argentina. You know, Argentina and Portugal in the final. Let Qatar get to the semis, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah. There's a final quote that I thought is quite fitting for Ronaldo in this interview. He said, "Maybe good for Manchester and probably good for me too to have a new chapter in my career." And I think that's where we've got to go, haven't we? It's sad that it's ending this way. It really is sad. Like, I was already sad beforehand with the way he was playing and stuff like that, and I thought, oh, it's a sad way to go. He's playing shit, and then we're gonna have to sell him. But then he's gone out and just lit the house on fire while everybody's still in it, hasn't he? And he's out.
It's weird, Sam, because you've seen the edits that I've done on TikTok of Ronaldo saying, like, you know, he's don't talk like one of them. You're not one of them.
Go follow our TikTok, by the way. Go follow the TikTok.
Yeah. And now I look at this interview I was going to get, just to throw out quickly out there, because I think that final quote you mentioned there was really good to end on, but just as a side thing, I was going to get a Cristiano Ronaldo tattoo, legit get a Cristiano Ronaldo tattoo on this bit of my arm here where he's standing over the free kick at Old Trafford. And now I look at situations like this and I'm like, it has tarnished his legacy slightly with me coming out and doing this. I can't lie, it really has. And it's changed my opinion on him, it's changed my view of him. That's my whole summary how I feel about this interview, because of the person he's done it with as well, which doesn't help at all, the timing of it. And it's just not, when we're in a period now that was so positive under Ten Hag, and you just like Garnacho, like a really exciting youngster, score a last-minute winner before we went off to the World Cup, and then drops this.
A guy who idolises you and does your celebrations and thinks you're the best and the greatest.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I think he'll have Messi on his goal list now. Much like Sevilla,
tearing down all his posters.
Yeah.
Just fucking...
Yeah, and unless you got any final thoughts, I think that was a perfect quote you just mentioned there to end up.
Yeah, like I said, it's sad that it ends this way, that he goes out, he leaves with the house burning down around him that he set fire to. He could have structured it so much better. Like, if he wanted to leave, he could have structured this so much better. Pick somebody else to do the interview, because that is the worst choice. I can't think of a more worst choice.
Legit, can't.
Like, unless you brought back like Jimmy Savile back from the grave or something, do you know what I mean? Like, you can't pick a worse guy to do it with.
Yeah.
And then you could have if you just would have left out attacking the manager, like just take that bit out. Like, you could have took
just
that
the malice in general, I think. Like,
the stuff with Gary Neville and Wayne Rooney is like tit for tat. Like,
it is what it is. Yeah.
I don't really give a shit either way, to be honest with you. But take the stuff out about the manager, and then just explain, like Sevilla said, take some responsibility for like walking out at Spurs and stuff like. Just take some responsibility. Like, look, I was wrong. Shouldn't have done it. Own up to it. This is what I was feeling at the time, but I realised that it wasn't right. And then just explain about the Glazers and all that sort of stuff, and explain that, look, it's not working, and you feel like you need to move on. I think most fans would be all right with that. I think most fans would be like, sad that it's ending like this way, but wish him the best and see you later. But he's done it in the worst way possible, and that's what's sad. That's the sad thing.
Yeah, definitely. Look, it's World Cup time now. It kicks off on Sunday, like we said. The tantalising fixture with Qatar and
well, no, let's get it right. It's Qatar's win. Like Qatar's win on Sunday. Cause we don't
oh
want
yeah,
to
so Qatar are going to beat Ecuador
Yeah.
on Sunday, of course, because all the players have been bribed.
Fucking
and then the tournament begins, so we'll have to wait and see how Cristiano gets on, how the club retaliate over these next couple of weeks, and then we will really know the truth when January gets here, and we'll see if he moves or not. But until then, we've got to wait for this tournament to finish, and then we'll be covering that. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, put your comments in, follow us on social media, and if you want to make a donation to our Movember campaign, which we're raising money for mental health, a charity called Mind, then the link is in the video description. Do you have anything else, Sam, to add on?
No. Follow all the socials. They're in the link in the description. Do some really good content, like Nick said, on the TikTok with the edits. All your latest news on the Twitter, all the latest news and schedules, and let you know what shows are happening on the Instagram. Yeah, and then if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. We appreciate all the support we get. Leave a comment below. Let us know how you feel about the Ronaldo interview and situation.
Yeah, and before you end it, Sam, let me just do one thing. Goodbye, Cristiano.
Oh, don't burn the shirt. Don't burn the shirt. Okay, that's all right. We can that'll deal with that. Peace, everybody.